All right, welcome back. This is, of course, the second part of our MJ Remastered podcast. A little disclaimer, I am by myself right now recording this audio, so this is, of course, editor Brandon back at you again. And gotta be honest with you, it's really weird by myself talking into this microphone. It's a lot easier when there are other people around you. But anyway, just to catch everybody back up on exactly what is happening, Carter and myself are defending the 2023-2024 Detroit Pistons. Basically, we think they can make it to 6 games in a series with Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls. Nick and Justin think we are absolutely full of crap. However, we made some pretty good points in the first episode. If you care to check those out, please do so. We'd love to get some more love for that video, and we would love to hear your comments on that video as well as this one. Of course, we're going to leave it up to you guys as to who won, but let's get right into it. Yeah, if Michael Jordan was in today's NBA, as in coming up in it, yeah, he might have performed like Kobe Bryant, maybe better, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about from the 90s, take them, put him in today's NBA. He's not doing it. He's just not.
I think he's doing the exact same thing that Kobe's doing.
Also, side note, I think we can just use your I'm looking at this again. I think we can just use your argument against you as far as the try and get one.
I couldn't find the thing you asked me for, by the way.
Points off of turnovers.
If we just use his argument against him, I think the Bulls kind of wash him bad because he said you just get Jordan into foul trouble. Why not just do the same thing to Cade Cunningham? Cade Cunningham averaged 22 points and not even close to anybody else. 8 assists. The next highest person is like 3 assists a game. So points generated, he averages the most points, assists, and steals on the team. Rebounds is Jalen.
Did you find
Points off turnovers? No, I couldn't find it. I can keep looking while I'm talking, but I think if you just take Cade Cunningham out of the equation, you're putting all your chips on Bogdanovich. Now, I think Bogdanovich is a dog.
He's a spot-up shooter.
He is. I mean, he's not
a
great,
bit more than that now.
but he's very underrated. I can't lie. I like watching him play, but
Bogdanovich is one of the best role players in the NBA.
I can't hate that. I can't hate on that. But let's like think about what you just said. Bogdanovich is one of the best role players in the NBA. We're in a 7-game series. Are we going to put all our chips on Michael Jordan or a role player?
Well, I think that
they're not winning the series. Nobody cares about that.
I don't think they get one game.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't think they get a game. I don't think Bogdanovich can lead them to a win.
A role player in 2024 compared to a role player in 1996.
I think Steve Kerr could play in today's NBA.
I do too.
I do not.
How?
All he has to do is shoot.
He just has to shoot threes.
What's the difference between him and Klay Thompson other than Klay Thompson's defense is better?
I don't think Steve Kerr's making it.
Just
Why?
as an athlete, the nature of how.
what's
What are you saying? He has to
What's
run up the
stopping
court
Reggie
more?
Miller from playing in today's league?
He's not taking those shots like that.
How? Why?
He was a primarily mid-range shooter.
Okay.
He shot threes. He led. I mean, he was all-time leader in threes when he retired, but he was primarily shooting mid-range. That you just can't take those shots in the NBA today. I think it's also very important the change in the level of athlete that is in the NBA.
That is y'all's best argument
That's
so
gonna
far.
say y'all keep going back to the same argument that they're just better now.
So that essentially is
my.
my last point. I'll go ahead and say that so we can talk about it. And here's what I will say about the athlete, whatever you want to call it. Let me get back to my notes. Hold on.
What athlete of today?
Yeah. So let me take one. There's technically it's 2 points, but I'll just throw it in 1 point. Okay. As of this year, the top 10 player. Actually, I've got the top 20 from today, and then I've got the top 17 from the 95-96 season. All right, of course, from the 95-96 season, Michael Jordan has the highest points per game.
At
That is
what,
30.4. 30.4.
Okay.
The next highest is Akeem Olajuwon with 26.9, and then Shaq with 26.6, and Karl Malone 25.7, and then David Robinson 25.0, and then only gets lower than that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the number one player today,
I know where
Luka Doncic,
Yeah, he averages like
34.5.
Yeah.
The next, it's Giannis, and then it just kind of, I can't pronounce this guy's name, but Shea
Alexander.
My glorious king.
Gilgeous
And
Alexander.
Embiid's not on that list, I'm sure, because he doesn't qualify because of his injury.
Joel Embiid just got hurt, so he's not going to qualify for the top anymore. But he averages like some absurd.
He was at 35 or 36.
He's basically like the next Shaq in the league.
So let me say this. So Luka Doncic 34.5, Michael Jordan 30.4.
Player-wise, better than Shaq.
I'm not trying to compare them two, but I will say the next highest is Hakeem Olajuwon at 26.9. The next player in today's NBA that would score less than Hakeem Olajuwon is the 12th player in the league, which is Nikola Jokic, and he scores 26.3. And so the first 12 players, or the first 11 players essentially, score more than technically score more than all the other players on the top 17 for the 95-96 NBA anyway. Why I think that is significant, because of course it's a different NBA. I think the NBA today is designed for more points. I think it's more
no defense.
Yeah. So the reason I think that is for two reasons that I to a certain degree, yes, he had to face, but I don't think it was to the extent of today's NBA. Two things. One, the international effect. Not just players from the international stadium or stage, but the technology and the knowledge that the players today have, the ability to not only outperform and advance their skills farther than most people in Michael Jordan's era, just from the access of technology and people and coaches and internet and social media and whatnot. They can train, as well as, I think, in my opinion, the influx of areas to play basketball in, and also the popularity in basketball. And I think all of those things kind of develop a more, from today's basketball NBA point of view, a more advanced player than in the 90s because of the limitations of knowledge and technology and all that. I mean, even Michael Jordan was like the first superstar because of technology and following him around. I mean, first of all, if you haven't seen it, the movie Air is phenomenal. I would go watch that immediately with, talk about the shoe. But also, players now, with that advancement in technology, you also get international players on an international stage coming to the NBA. And the NBA is no longer the best players in America. Majority of them in Jordan's day were from America, I would argue.
Hakeem's not from America, but
I know, but what I'm saying is like the ability for today's NBA to actually have the best talent of the world, because if you're a baller, the highest level you can go to is the NBA. But now with everything considered, that can be anybody from any place, and I don't think you can truly say that you had the absolute best in the world playing basketball in the 90s with Michael Jordan. And I think if you put him in today's competition, one, he's going to have a harder time. Not saying he's not going to be good. I'm saying he's going to have a harder time. And two, the players on the Detroit Pistons are playing against those guys every day almost. So they're going to have to play against them versus then having to play against the 90s players. I think the Detroit Pistons probably not going to win, but I think they can at least win 2 games in a 7-series competition. That's all I'm going to say.
A good thing we're not talking about.
I have 3 points I want to get to. Number one, I 100% agree. I think that the league has evolved. I think there are much more avenues to get better players, and I think the national players are dominating the league today.
I think that also you have to acknowledge the fact that players are getting trained for the NBA from the age of 13. All of them.
Luka Doncic. I mean,
like that just was not happening back then.
Luka played in the EuroLeague at
he
like
played
14?
for Real Madrid.
He was playing prime Russell Westbrook at 16 years old. That dude is not human.
And I know that's a very known example because he was playing professionally.
Yeah.
But you look at how high school basketball has changed.
Uh-huh.
We're looking at when Wembanyama was getting
Yeah.
We knew he would be an NBA superstar when he was
14.
15.
14 or 15.
And he's been getting trained.
There was that clip where he was going up against Defensive Player of the League, Rudy Gobert, another national out of America player. Where's he from? France. Two French guys going at it. The literal, quote-unquote, greatest defender on the planet probably was at that time. And 15-year-old Wembanyama just skyhooking it over him like it was nothing. So I definitely agree with your point that like leagues evolved and all that. But I'm going to use that argument here for my first point. The Detroit Pistons have 3 international players, all of which suck. They have a bunch of American guys that are not.
Hayes, Bogdanovich.
I think Hayes is American.
He's French.
No, he's French.
I don't think
or he's French or German.
He's American French. The 3 people that are like just straight up non-American, because like Hayes is American French and Monte Morris is American Nigerian.
He just got traded today.
Anyway, Bogdanovich is Croatian and Bosnian. Gallinari is Italian. He just got traded, right?
Yep. Well, he was just traded to them.
And Malcolm Kazolin.
That's a bench player that he doesn't.
French. So, like I said, this is a very. I mean, it's kind of split, but it's a very out of country dominated league at the moment. Don't really got a lot of depth.
At the top.
Yeah, at the top. And then in the middle, it gets a little wishy washy. I just want to make that point. It's definitely not a great point. I acknowledge that, but still, anyway. Backpedaling to the turnovers per game. I was sitting there fishing around while you were talking. I think a stat that went unnoticed was the Detroit Pistons' defensive ability to create turnovers. They are the worst in the league at it. They only force 10 turnovers per game, which means if the Bulls literally just play how they normally play smart with the ball, they're not going to lose the ball that much. You think of prime example, Michael Jordan's efficiency, only, I don't know how many shots per game, only getting 2 turnovers, playing against the team in today's league that forces the least amount of turnovers. I'd be shocked if he gets 3 turnovers a game.
I just don't know because of how athletes have changed over time.
And
that's the biggest question. Like, that's, to me, is the reason that I think the Pistons win, is just how much better the average player is now. Like, it's been 30 years.
And again, quick interjection. That we can really just go back and forth on that point the whole day. You're like, well, they only do this in today's NBA, but then I can just say, well, it's today's NBA. So, we're kind of back and forth on that. I do acknowledge your stat, but I just want to say that.
I think it being in today's NBA hurts them even more, because if there's more possessions per game, they have more opportunities
to force
a turnover.
Yeah.
Better players, though.
What do you mean better players?
Better players in today's NBA.
What does that have to do with anything?
I think that could go both ways.
It's just a mismatch.
Better players on offense mean that they're going to turn the balls left, but better players on defense means that they can create turnovers. I think that just offsets. If you're in today's NBA,
I'm acknowledging that they're not the best players in the NBA, but they have to play against the best NBA players.
Yeah, they also got to play against the worst NBA players. But if they're playing,
they are the worst.
I know, but if they're playing against, like, I don't know, what's the 29th worst team?
I don't know.
The Wizards.
The Wizards.
Because I think Jordan's Bulls is definitely better than them. So
they play against the Wizards. They still don't force a lot of turnovers.
they're getting less turnover.
They beat the Wizards.
Hey, yeah.
They're getting less chances to force turnovers, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
Because they're not pushing the ball as much.
This is so okay. I know I said the Pistons beat the. They did not. The Pistons did not beat the Celtics. I'm so sorry.
Was that
See,
they
falsifying
he's
stats.
fabricating information.
I'm sorry. They beat the Thunder. I said,
there we go.
Okay.
They went to overtime against the Celtics.
Okay, I'd like to put some
I was just thinking about it. I was wrong there. I said
context on the Oklahoma City Thunder team. They're having one of the best runs I've seen since the early Kevin Durant Harden days. That team is young. What? What's that face for?
Oh, accidentally.
No, he did something. Don't worry
Y'all
about it.
playing footsie over there?
It was a mistake.
They're having one of the greatest runs I've seen from a young team since like the early Kevin Durant days for OKC. Chet Holmgren is absolutely balling, as well as MVP candidate Shai Gilgeous. I mean, he is just, I don't know. I'm not going to get too deep on that. But that's a very young team, and with, being young comes chinks in your armor. Same thing with, like, the Timberwolves. They do have some vets on that team, but Cat was going for 70. They're all like, ooh, we can just feed him the ball the whole time. That ends up losing them the game.
Against the Hornets.
Against the Hornets.
I think
who also suck.
These what we've mentioned just shows how much parity is in the league.
Yeah.
That like, even if we're only looking at the Pistons to go win 2 games, it's the NBA that can happen.
Yeah, that can't happen. But I think that the Pistons are young. I think they're gonna. I think here's another like intangible stat that like can't be measured that I do believe in, and I think that's crunch time.
Yep.
The last 5 minutes of the game, let's just like go on a limb and say it's tied, which is I think that's very possible in y'all's argument. I think that the Pistons do have a chance to make it close games. I think that crunch time is where like real like basketball finally comes back out in the NBA and it's not just hogwash no more.
Yeah.
Because teams try to not mess up anymore, and I think that's where the Pistons are really going to shine in being bad. Because I think Jordan's going to lock in. That whole Bulls team is going to lock in. They've been here before. This is business. We're going up against. There's no way in hell we're about to lose to some young kids. So Jordan's going to go Jesus mode. Scottie Pippen's going to lock in on defense, and I think the Bulls role players are going to be a lot better than the Pistons role players in that regard because they've been there before. They've done this a lot. They have experience, whereas the Pistons, young guys off the bench and some vets here and there, not only do they not shoot as good of a percentage as the Bulls, when it comes to crunch time, that's going to be even more pressure to make the shot, which 9 times out of 10, unless you just have that dog in you, you're not going to shoot as good because the lights get brighter, the whole 9. So that's like you obviously can't measure that. That's kind of subjective in my argument, but I feel like it's a valid point.
It's definitely important. I just don't think it would ever come down to that.
You think the Pistons would be up by then?
I simply think it comes down to how much the average player, how much better players are 30 years later. Do you think Bob Cousy is playing in the 90s?
Well, I think Bob Cousy is nowhere as good as like anybody on that 90s Bulls team.
It was 30 years before he was playing. And
I think
here's I think the gap
here's
from
my
the
counter to that. I think it's like math. I think it's an exponential curve.
I agree. Yeah. It's an exponential.
I don't think it's a stagnant players get this much better over time. Linear. There you go. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's just a straight line. I don't think it's linear. I think it's been exponential.
I agree. It's exponential, which means that players are continuing to get better at a faster rate than they were back then.
Yeah.
Which shows the gap between the 60s and the 90s will be even bigger. The gap between the 90s and the 2020s.
No, I think it's yeah.
So what are the Bulls doing? If the average player has grown that much more, if it's exponential, and we don't think the 60s players are doing anything in the 90s, what are the 90s players doing in the 2020s?
And I think here's why I think we're getting lost in each other's arguments. I don't think it's because the Bulls were just that good in their time.
Oh, I think
it's just because the Pistons are that ass.
I think
and because of that's what I said at the start. For like 80 to 90% of the teams in the league, I'm on y'all's side. I think the Celtics could destroy the Bulls. I think the 2018 Warriors would not even bat an eye.
Yeah.
17, 18.
17, 18.
With like KD and all
everyone healthy.
Everyone healthy. Boogie playing his role as a center. I don't even think they could wake up 2 hours before the game.
They're treating that game like they were playing the Celtics in the first round. Sorry, not the Celtics, the Pelicans.
Oh my God, yeah. I don't even think it's like questionable. So I agree with y'all like 90% of the time for 90% of the teams, but it's just like I just think the Pistons are so historically bad that they just aren't equipped to play that Bulls team. I just don't think it.
I think that them being equipped is just like, again, it's just the caliber of player being changed.
But
because the 90s players have never seen a Cade Cunningham. I mean, they did. It was Magic Johnson, like 6'8" point guard. But Cade's also shooting over people. Magic couldn't do that. Like the type of players that you see in the NBA now, just like no one could do what players now are doing in the 90s. Like Cade Cunningham could do everything. Like he's not elite at it in the NBA today, but you put him in the 90s and he is. Like, he's an elite shooter in the 90s. He's an elite playmaker. He's an elite ball handler.
Here's what I'll say though. I agree with you, Nick, that the Bulls could beat. I mean, honestly, I'll say I feel like the 90, 94, 95, 95, 96, whatever Bulls you want to pick, even to a certain degree, the Bulls without MJ, but not as much. I definitely feel like they're going to win a lot of 7 series matchups against today's lower half NBA teams, right? But that doesn't mean they're not going to at least go to 6 games with some of them. And that's the point I want to, again, reiterate, as in, yeah, no, I agree with you. I think those Bulls are definitely I'm not gonna agree fully with Carter and say that like they're just gonna blow them out and it's just a totally different game. I don't think I'm gonna go that far, but I do feel like that the modern day NBA teams, even the worst ones, can get somehow, some way 2 wins. But I do agree with you in the fact that I do feel like probably more than half are gonna eventually, maybe half or about half will probably inevitably lose to those Bulls just because they're that good. And that's just kind of the point I'm trying to make. I'm not saying they're going to win a championship against them. I'm saying that they'll at least win 2 games.
I'm going to use one of your biggest sports like go-tos. I don't know how many times I heard you talk about this. Okay. I think that the Bulls – okay, this is strictly subjective, so, like, take this with a grain of salt. I think that the Bulls will probably win the first game. I think that it's kind of 50-50 on the second game. But let's just say the Bulls win. I think the Pistons are dead in the water at that point. I think it's a 4-0 sweep, and here's why. The energy. Yeah. That Pistons team is, like I said multiple times, they're young. If they go down 2-0 against the Bulls, that they're gonna have their like memory against like the Jordan that they all grew up watching along with Kobe, like back in all that. They're just gonna, oh well, I guess we're done. They're gonna check out, right? So I think that's another factor that you gotta like think about is they're just gonna check out and be like, dude, this is Jordan we're going up against. Like, why the hell? Like, what are we gonna do, right?
However, the only thing I will counter to that is that it could be the entire opposite, as in they're like, this is Michael Jordan we're playing against. So in that scenario, based off what I believe about sports and the energy in sports, the Detroit Pistons have the energy because they're the underdog. And most of the time, the underdog comes ready to fight.
Unless you're the Detroit Pistons.
Okay. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like when you're playing, LeBron and the Lakers or Kawhi and the Clippers, it's kind of like, it's just kind of like that's still a team. But to them, if you're talking about the childhood hero of Michael Jordan, then I think they're going to get the energy up. They're going to have maybe a little bit more.
We've seen this story play out this season. Who did the Pistons take to OT and then they actually just shit the bed? The Celtics.
The Celtics. They were up 20 at half against the Celtics.
The Pistons were up 20.
And this was I think this was the game. Like, if they won this game, they were not going to be the longest streak ever.
Yeah. So this was like
huge.
This is a chance to be like, dude, we're not as bad as everyone says we are. We're not going to go down in the books as the literal worst team, blah, blah, blah. So you're right. They had the energy. They came out swing. Look like the Detroit Lions. Lobos. My fault, Goff. Anyway, so they came out up by 20. Jason Tatum and all the Celtics were like, there's no way in hell we're about to just lose to this team. Come back. Pistons put up a great fight, goes to OT, then they shit the bed whenever it matters most. I think the same story is going to play out with the Bulls.
Well, I think we've turned over about every rock in that argument.
LeBron's better than Jordan. No, I'm kidding.
Well, okay, before we get out of here, before we kind of wrap it up though, who you guys got? Who you think's the GOAT? Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
I'll let y'all go first. Yeah, we're not talking about this.
It's LeBron.
Very, very quickly, just we don't have to go too far into it, but who do you think's the GOAT?
You already know my answer. It's Michael Jordan.
It's LeBron, and there shouldn't be a GOAT debate.
Nick, who you got?
I think. Oh, I'm gonna play. This is such a safe answer. I think Jordan is the greatest of all time. I think LeBron is the best of all time.
You know what? I've never heard anybody put it like that.
Really?
Yeah, I've never heard.
That's such a normal thing.
I've never heard anybody say it like that, and I think that's a great way to put it.
It's a good thing we're talking about the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
The greatest of all time is Jordan. The
I mean-
best all-around player as a complete whole is without a doubt LeBron.
It's probably Luka by the end of his career.
No, he
Maybe.
doesn't have LeBron's defense.
I will say that here's what I will say. I'm not a big fan of either Michael Jordan or LeBron, as in like.
Oh, here we go. He's about to say
No,
Kobe.
No. What I mean
Is Larry Bird.
no, as in I don't love NBA. I don't love NBA basketball. I'm a college guy for sure. Just because I think when you get to the professional level, it just kind of it turns me off because of all the business. You know what I mean? However, the GOAT for sure is JJ Redick.
Dude, I would have been happy if you would have just said Kobe.
He would not have been happy if he said Kobe.
Yeah, I don't think
No.
Kobe's a top 5 player of all time.
Nah, but I will say I if I had to agree with one thing, I agree with you what you said, Nick. I will agree that LeBron.
It's been a long podcast.
Shrug, bro. Wait a minute. Oh, I will agree with what you said, Nick. I will, if I had to really sit down and say it, I'd probably say that Michael Jordan's probably the greatest of all time, but LeBron is the best of all time.
My NBA hot take is, and Kobe's hanging on by a thread of being top 10.
Yeah. I can 100% agree with that.
He's
No,
barely.
Kobe-
He might be 10 in the top 10. If he's not 10, he's
Man,
not.
I don't know how he was like 5th when he died, and now he's 10.
I've never thought. I've never thought that.
It went backwards.
I've
Like he
never
was
thought
like
that.
number 1 for
Yeah.
like a day or two after he died, and now he's 10. I don't know.
You know,
how-
I was never saying that though.
I never thought he was top.
Yeah, I've never thought he was top
Um,
3, top 5, and he's barely top 10.
You know, we're just planting the seeds for our next basketball episodes down the line. Let me just go ahead and get this out of the way. Justin thinks that Curry is better than Magic Johnson.
I
He
do.
thinks Curry is what, like 7th?
I think Curry's the 6th best player of all time.
6th.
Yeah.
He went up.
He's always been 6.
Okay, well, plant that seed. I think that's bullshit. I mean,
I would agree.
hey, save
His
for the
rings
pod.
are probably more valuable than Magic's.
What's some other seeds? I love James Harden. Everyone hates him. Plant that seed right
If,
I
there.
don't have any problems
If
with
Curry,
James Harden as a player.
if Curry
Justin
wins
does.
another ring, he's undisputed top 5 of all time. I don't care what anybody says.
I would agree with that.
I can't argue that.
Well, I mean,
but we're talking about right now.
he only has 1 Finals MVP.
Save it for the pod.
Yeah.
He might be number 4.
Before we wrap it up, though, I will say that I think it is very impressive that Curry won another championship, and it kind of went under the rug, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, he did it. You know, it was just him, Clay, and
Jordan Poole.
Wiggins.
Jordan Poole. Yeah.
Wiggins.
I mean-
Wiggins was an all-star.
Curry also has had one of the most unlucky opponents to ever have been gone up against. His quote-unquote biggest rival is LeBron James. I mean, the fact that he is, like, put up as much of a fight as he has against LeBron, very, like, almost on par. Well, he's obviously a step below LeBron, but he's right there with him.
Good thing Curry got cooked by injuries, too.
Yeah, Curry did get cooked.
Like, his team got
hard
cooked
his
by
ankles
injuries.
early in his career.
I'm talking about, like, his team got
The
cooked by
1
injuries.
year?
Yeah.
No,
The
Curry,
1 year.
That would have been his ring for him to be top 5.
wait, what year are we talking about?
What year was that? 2020?
That was
His first
2019.
MVP year?
No, the year Kawhi won.
2019.
Yeah, that would have been his top 5 player of all time ring.
Oh, you mean whenever Kevin Durant was going to save him? Oh, my bad.
You mean the other 2 also?
Oh!
Well, I think.
Save for the pod.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of wraps everything up, though. But before we,
I think me and Justin won that argument.
Good thing KD wasn't
we'll
in
let,
the-
we'll
I
let
had
the,
another hour of minimum of things to say.
Yeah, no.
Good thing KD wasn't the best
Carter
player
had
on that team.
Something in the vault.
He was.
But here's what we'll say.
Statistically, KD wasn't the best player on that team. But
Curry's points
we'll,
are coming in garbage time during those finals.
we'll save it for the next podcast.
Yeah. All right, boys. All right, pack it up.
Are you out of breath over there?
No, man.
He was getting so excited for his
Dude,
argument just to know he got proved wrong.
My intention was to just say something and then give the mic away and just let it be, but like I got way too heated. I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
Here for what? That wasn't the
Man,
most.
did you really think that was gonna happen?
I really thought I was like, I'm just gonna say this, and then I was like, nah, man, I can't let him say things. I can't let him say things like that, man. And I started yelling without even having a microphone.
Please, comment section, cook these foods.
Yeah, all right. That's what we'll do. Let's not decide right now who won because I think we're both
I
sides
don't
are
really
pretty
think
biased.
there is a winning. Like you can't.
Yeah,
win
I think
either way.
it's definitely a very we try to make it as objective as possible, I think, but also it's very subjective. But let's let the comment section decide who won.
At Stephen A. Smith, please go over our topic.
ESPN, look, we're just waiting for our brand deal. If you want to call, on-call email, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we'll definitely let the comment section figure that one out. We'll see what they decide. If you're listening to this now, please drop a like. Please hit the subscribe. Please let us know what you think.
Are we forgetting something?
We're gonna get there. I just want to make sure it's up to the people at this point. All right. But before we get out of here, we got Nick's random top 3 of the week. And Nick, would you like to tell them what that is?
I would. And hate to do this to you boys. I'm switching it up.
You're changing it?
I'm changing it last minute.
ready to go.
No
changing
fastball,
it.
only change up.
Oh,
I think we should do both because
No, we just do one. He hit the
you
change
know
up.
how I feel about some sodas.
I was gonna give them sodas, but I'm real passionate about sports tonight. I want your top 3 biggest crowd pop off moments in a sport. So for examples, hitting a buzzer beater, game winning Randy Moss touchdown, a soccer goal in front of millions of fans. I don't care what it is. Give me your top 3 you know what? Do you want all sports or we just basketball specific?
Basketball only, I guess.
Basketball only?
Yeah,
Okay,
only.
top 3 basketball pop-offs. Posters, buzzer beaters, ankle breakers. Give me your top 3. Go.
So nothing specific. Just
Specific.
have a speech impediment.
Cooked.
Rapid.
I got mine.
Carter, go.
Buzzer beater.
What, one or going from 3 or starting at
That's
1?
one.
One?
Oh, so you're saying just like that? You're not talking about specific
Are you talking about specific moments?
No. Do y'all want to do specific?
Dude, I
moments?
had my
that's what I
3
was
specific
thinking.
moments already lined up.
Okay, specific player moments. Like Kawhi's buzzer beater, Curry buzzer beater. Go.
Oh, I can go.
You go first.
Is it
Start at 3.
It has to be start at 3. All right, for number 3, I'd probably go Derrick Rose's buzzer beater, come off the screen, throw it bank in. Number 2, I'd probably have to go Curry's half court game winner
Legendary.
against OKC.
Legendary commentation.
I cried that night as an OKC fan. I can't lie, but it is one of the best shots of all time. I hear the noise.
Curry, way downtown. Bang!
Got a timeout, decides not to use it.
ESPN, you
Those
do that
words haunt me. Now, number 1, I'm gonna have to go for Kawhi's game winner because I was watching that game live and I popped off because from the angle that he shot it on TV, it looked like he missed. It looked like it was actually going to the ground,
magically.
but then it just goes in. So I'm gonna have to say that's number 1.
Okay, so what I feel like this is a little bit of an unorthodox answer for 2 of mine.
That's fine.
LeBron breaking the all-time scoring record.
At 3 or 1?
I'm saying what I've seen. I think these are going to be 2 and 3 because I agree. I think Kawhi is number 1.
Okay, that's fair.
LeBron breaking the scoring record and Steph breaking the 3-point record. Because everyone in that building was at that game to see that happen. So when it happened,
It's valid.
they went crazy
That's
both
great
times.
picks I didn't even think about.
I know it's not the same. It doesn't match the same, spike in excitement.
Pop off, but yeah.
But I think, everyone was Curry was at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
He was there. Everyone was there. They knew it was this game.
Actually, you just made me want to bring up a new pick.
Are you gonna say,
Or Kobe's last game was also.
Yeah.
Now that I think about
you
it.
say Curry's 62-point game?
No. What? No.
Oh,
Who cares?
my bad.
It's just
All right.
run of the mill.
Those are my 3, I think. Is LeBron's
I'm
passing
pretty
Kareem.
unorthodox with one of my picks. I don't know. Mine's going to be off the wall.
LeBron's last game.
Yeah, LeBron's last game will probably be
I'll be at LeBron's last
Brandon,
game.
you want to go?
I want to try to get the specifics of the shots, but I couldn't find it fast enough. But number 3 for me is definitely you guys remember when it was R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson, and
Cam Reddish.
Cam Reddish, yeah, at Duke. So they're all there. Cam Reddish was number 3.
He was not number 3.
No, I'm talking about like not like his
Oh, he was the third
yeah,
option?
like coming in from high school, he's number 3 player in the country, right?
That might be right.
I want to say they had the number 1, 2,
RJ
and 3.
and Zion were top 2.
Yeah, Zion was 1, RJ was 2. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, that's not important. I think that's correct.
He got drafted 10th overall.
But there was a game, and God, I cannot remember. I was watching it in my dorm room freshman year of college, and I cannot remember at all what. No, it's not a Zion thing. Well, I cannot remember at all what the game was. I want to say they were playing Virginia. I'm not exactly
Virginia
sure.
Tech. It was the.
He's reading my mind.
Is he about to snipe it?
I think it was.
He's from Virginia.
Sweet 16. I believe it was Sweet 16. It might have been Elite 8. It was versus Virginia Tech. Because I'm a Virginia Tech fan.
And so let me.
That game went down.
Go
very
V-Tech.
late. It was a lob. It was a lob in that game near the end.
I'm trying. I honestly, it's escaping me what happened. But essentially, the moment I remember watching the game, it goes down to the final couple minutes. And, of course, that whole season, everybody's hyping up R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson, and Cam Reddish is just kind of, like, falling, kind of silent in terms of the only thing they really say about him is, like, oh, is he going to live up or is he going to try to, supersede the stars, the real stars, which are those two other guys. And game winner, they needed him. They needed a 3-point shot to win. He comes up. They're on the baseline. He comes up and runs to the top of the key, dead center at the top of the arc, and just bangs in a 3-pointer to win the game. And it was just one of those moments where I'm like, yes, that guy. I'm so glad it was him that made that shot. I cannot remember the game at all.
Yeah, it was the Sweet 16.
It was Sweet 16?
2019.
Okay.
75-73.
Yeah. That was like, it was just a great moment, but specifically because it was Cam Reddish.
You can keep going, but I just thought it was funny. Rapid fire, go.
That's gonna say he's like breaking this thing.
My bad.
No. You're good. You're good.
Number 2, it's kind of hard. I would probably have to say though, from what I remember, and this is another Duke moment, but the 2015 ACC tournament when Duke is playing Notre Dame, Jason Tatum is on the team with Grayson Allen. They're inbounding the ball from about half court, and they line up. And I'm just like screaming at the TV. I'm just like, run to the basket. And Jason Tatum literally like just cuts free and clear, open to the basket. Nobody was even around him. And he got the easiest freaking layup. I think he actually dunked it. He got the easiest shot in the whole world. And they won the ACC tournament off of that. And I was just like so excited because I was like, he knew what I was thinking.
Was Gaga coming out? Shout out Miss.
They just passed the ball. Oh, they did it. But for sure, number 1 though has got to be the shot heard around the world. Grant Hill to Christian Laettner to take him to the 1991 national championship. Dude, you know the shot heard around the world, bro.
You were not born yet.
I know, but I love that moment. That gets me hyped. Just
you don't know Christian Laettner and Grant Hill?
What are you talking about, dude? Oh, I'm about to say
against Kansas. Right, it was Kansas.
Yeah.
They're some of the best old time players of all time.
Yeah, no, definitely. The shot heard around the world is just like it's electric to watch. However, honestly, it probably would have been like even better if it was like the national title game winner.
Yeah,
that would have been amazing. But that's my top 3.
What was the side note? What was that like Duke like double free throw line like buzzer beaters against Carolina?
Oh,
who did that? That was that wasn't like.
It was I think it was Wendell Moore.
I don't know.
He bounced off the.
It wasn't like Tyus Jones or nothing like that, right?
He bounced off.
Oh, it was Trey Jones.
Trey Jones. There you go. Yeah.
I didn't know what you were talking about at first. Yeah.
That was a bad day for Carolina.
Yeah, that was Trey. It was Trey Jones
because he did it twice.
He threw it off the backboard. The guy airballed the
Fell it
3, and there was a guy that just was under it.
Yeah, doubled, and then he sent it overtime by bricking the free throw and then purposely getting his rebound and shooting it.
I'm pretty sure the guy that was underneath and got it was Wendell Moore. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
It was.
All right.
Anyway.
What you got, Nick?
So for mine are kind of like I'm gonna have one moment that's like not actually in a game, but I think it also shaped some of the NBA today. Number 3, I'm gonna have kind of a bias pick. James Harden's game winner against the 2018 Warriors during the regular season, when Kevin Durant, Justin, I freaking look at his eyes. God, I wish we had a camera. I hate that man so much. Kevin Durant's double feet, literally like 3 feet out of bounds, just quote unquote saves the ball. The refs don't see it. Dude was living in the offside the court baseline area, and James Harden is livid. The Rockets are livid as usual. This is, I mean, one of the worst missed calls I've ever seen. James Harden brings the balls up the court. Pause. Sorry, my bad. I said balls.
Come on, bro.
Brings the ball up the court. Has two people draped over him with Draymond and Clay, and just shoots the ball and absolutely drains it. Doesn't matter. Ball don't. One of the coolest ball don't lie moments I've ever watched. It was so dude.
What? I was just looking at him nodding his head.
I don't know why.
Number 3.
Dude, he's just hating at this point.
I don't.
2-1.
He's just hating.
Me?
No,
You!
I'm saying you. I was looking at him nodding his head.
I'm not hating on top 3-point or shooting guard of all time, James Harden.
He's a hater.
I'm not a hater.
Anything I say, he's a hater. Number 2, I'm probably going to put the Kawhi shot just because it's one of the most insane game winners I've ever seen live. And then number 1, I want to put the LeBron James trade to the Miami Heat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. All of America was watching that when it happened. Dwayne Wade hosted a party at his house just to see what LeBron was doing. And he literally, there's like a video of him going around. I've seen it on TikTok.
Yeah, I saw it.
He was like, dude, I'm more nervous about, this is D Wade saying this, not even like involved in LeBron's. I mean, he was, but like,
I mean, no one
really knew. D Wade said, I'm more nervous about this than I was on draft night. Bruh. That's Hall of Fame glazing for LeBron James. Like, I've never seen a pop like a national wide, like, it was a crisis.
I mean, Cleveland was in shambles.
Yeah, Cleveland, like, and LeBron James, we need to know, like, that was like a, like, DEFCON 1. Like, every TV was watching that. So.
I remember I was like 6.
I was gonna say, I know you were watching it.
No, I was. Well, I wasn't watching it, but I knew about, like, it was happening.
Yeah.
I didn't. I just remember seeing him on the cover.
I think those are actually fantastic moments from everybody.
I
like,
think
that
we need
was
to
great.
shout out Damian Lillard over Paul George. Like, that
What?
just didn't get mentioned.
Oh,
Yeah,
the shot. I was
that's
like,
good.
what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty good.
All right. I mean, I think that was a great. I mean, that was just a great podcast all the way around, man. I think.
Hey, clap it up for everybody's arguments today. Clap it up, boys.
I wasn't done. I had more. I had so much more.
We might need you on permanently.
Clap it up for Carter Copeland today, boys.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Great guest.
No, yeah. Thank you so much, Carter, for coming and helping me
course.
out. I think it's been a fantastic episode, and I really appreciate the backup on this one, man. It has been honestly, it's been very fun to just kind of watch you guys go at it, because I will say you definitely have more basketball knowledge than me, and you guys are very prepared, even though you didn't study. Even though I might have won the argument, but anyway.
The only thing I
nowhere
looked up
close.
was I was just looking up like size differences, like NBA Combine. That's the only thing I was looking at over eras.
You never even talked about
Never talked about
No,
it.
I told you I had another
NBA
probably.
side? You know, just go ahead and end
I
the
had another
episode.
2 hours of things I could have talked about.
Well, we can come back to this argument again,
Never.
because I think there's still a lot here left.
This is the most irrelevant argument I've ever been a part of.
Deal, we'll have a Stephen A on the pod, Shannon, and try and get him on.
And they'll be exactly like, I don't know why we're having this conversation. This is the dumbest argument ever.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to be on our side.
I don't know. Shannon might back me up. He loves
No.
LeBron too.
We weren't talking about LeBron at all today, but
I was thinking about LeBron the whole time though.
My glorious king.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got for you today. If you liked the video, please leave a comment. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We really appreciate all your feedback, and get us wherever you get your podcasts. And thank you so much, Carter, for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
never have this man on the show again.
We'll see you guys next time. All right.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Shea Gillis for MVP.